For more on this, let's bring in a great expert, Mr. Tom Maddox. He's the CEO and founder of Underwater Forensic Investigators. He's co-pilot of the Russian submersible Mir 2 during the 2005 International Titanic expedition. He was there. Mr. Tom Maddox, thank you, sir. We saw you with John and Sandra and hoped you would help us, and you are. We appreciate it. I guess my first question, you're talking to someone who is a complete novice on any of this, as you probably figure. If you found them somehow, they're 12,500 some odd feet below the surface. If by some chance way you actually located them, could they be brought up? Do we have the technology to bring them up, sir?
Well, that's a great question, Larry, and one that still remains to be answered. But we do have a lot of possibilities. If they're found, and hopefully they will be soon, there are a number of possibilities in the situation that they could be in. They could be just sitting on the bottom, free and clear. They could be up against the wreck of the Titanic and entangled or trapped in some way. They wouldn't know this until they get one of the ROVs, the remote operated vehicles, down there so that they can actually survey the site and figure out the best way to attach the submersible and then hopefully bring it back to the surface.
Those vehicles can get down there, Tom?
Well, there are only a few. Of course, we have no manned vehicles that can go that deep at the moment, so a manned rescue is certainly out of the question. We knew that going in. But there are a few remote operated vehicles. A lot of them don't have that capability because, as you said, it's 12,500 feet, which is 2.5 miles. That's a long way. So the problem with an ROV is that they are tethered to the surface with an umbilical. They need a lot of umbilical to be able to reach that area and not only go down, but to search in a wide path. So I know that we brought in the Navy has obtained some vehicles. There's a couple other one coming in from France that's on the vessels now. I believe they're either on site or on their way. And hopefully they could, barring any real problems and hopefully with a miracle, they could possibly make this a rescue operation.
You know, I was reading this morning's Wall Street Journal news accounts. I thought they were pretty good, but again, I'm a complete amateur on this. But apparently, the submersible lost contact in 1 hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to assume that's accurate from the journal. I don't know if it is. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. But that's still a long way from the bottom. And I just wondered, why do you reckon, what could have been interfering with all that contact? I won't say so early in the voyage, but obviously a lot earlier than when they hit bottom by the Titanic.
Well, you're spot on. The information I have from the company's website is that their descent would normally take about 2.5 hours, which is what it took us in the Mir subs, 2.5 hours down and 2.5 hours back up. So as you mentioned, it would put them in the middle of the water column, partially on the way down. So at that point, they lost communications. We don't know why. That could be due to damage. It could be due to a mechanical or electronic failure. It could be only the communications, or it could be the rest of the sub, other systems within the sub, such as propulsion and ballast. So assuming that they have not come back to the surface, they haven't manually dumped their ballast and as far as we know, have not come back to the surface, then probably the most likely answer is that they continued downward, either under their own on purpose or simply drifted down out of power and would have landed on the bottom.
Can you walk through that for us, for me, for our audience who probably doesn't know much about it either? These submersibles drift up to the top. There's a thought that I have heard in all the reporting on our networks, Fox Business and Fox News, that it's not inconceivable that this vessel is on the surface but hasn't been spotted yet. But Tom Maddox, if it were on the surface, they can't get out of it.
That's one of the problems, as you mentioned. Being on the surface is a possibility, although the search crew has been searching an area the size of Connecticut, from what I understand. And even that small vessel, if it's on the surface, it wouldn't sit on the surface like a ship. It would simply have maybe the top or partially exposed to the surface. And wave action, light reflection, there are a lot of reasons why they may not spot it. But even if they do, whether it's underwater or it's on the surface, let's assume they get it. Once they get it, then they have to be able to manipulate it and be able to open that hatch. I'm not familiar with the sub design, so I don't know if it requires special tools, pneumatics, what kind of problem that poses, but we can only hope that they're prepared for that with information from Ocean Gate.
And Tom, when you went down in 2005, okay, you're a very experienced guy. And what were you thinking? What, in your judgment at that time, put yourself back, it's over 15 years ago, you know, what did you regard as the biggest risks, and are those risks applicable today?
Well, any exploration into the deep ocean has its risk. There are a number of ways that you can run into a problem. We know that going in. As a matter of fact, in my situation in 2005, just 5 days before my expedition, when I was supposed to leave, a Russian AS-28 sub with, I think, 9 people on board got tied up and fouled up in 600 feet of water. Oh. And a similar rescue was put out the same way. They did happen to rescue that sub and bring it up, but it was only 600 feet of water. So going in, you know that there are many possibilities. Hopefully everything will go right, just like if you were getting on a spacecraft and going to the moon. You could implode, you could have a fire, you could freeze to death, you could drown. I mean, there are many, many ways, but explorers know that going in. You accept the risk, and that's part of what this life is about with exploration.
But the pressure down there, again, 12,500 feet, no one knows where exactly this vessel is, but the pressure down there is brutal, and it's awfully, awfully cold. I mean, the cards are stacked against you. I mean, I don't ever give up hope, and I have faith myself, so I'm hoping that God will intervene. But, you know, I don't know how to, you know, you tell us, you're down there, something's gone wrong. What are the options? That's probably an inadequate way to put it. But what, you know, you're in there, there's 5 people, God help them. What are the options? What can they do?
Well, it's right now, it would be a hope and pray situation. If their systems are, let's say they're there, the sub is intact, but they're immobile or their systems are down, they have no option but to sit and wait. That's why when yesterday we got reports that they were reporting sounds coming or banging coming from the sea, then it was we were all a lot more hopeful. That was the best information we had since the beginning of this ordeal. But like you said, it's cold. The water at the Titanic is actually about 31 degrees Fahrenheit, which is below freezing. It doesn't solidify into ice because the salinity of the water doesn't solidify at that temperature. But the heat from that sub, and oddly enough, when you begin the descent, your top side, the sub gets very hot. There's arrays of equipment inside the sub that are producing heat. The bodies are producing heat. We go in layered with layers that we have to put on as we go down and shed as we come back up, because the temperature changes so drastically that you'll actually get condensation inside the sub on the walls and the ceiling of the submersible. But when you hit the bottom, by the time you get to the bottom, the heat is dispelling from that hull and it's getting cold. So right now, they would be, if they have no auxiliary power, they're in zero blackness, I mean, outer space blackness. They're probably close to, or if not, in freezing temperatures. They have minimal food and water available. And of course, they still have to provide all their normal body functions. So and they're in a tight space. So you could have panic, you could have, certainly you would expect psychological issues where people are going to breathe faster, which consumes the air they have, or hopefully they're able to prolong their air by staying calm and trying to keep it together. But it's no place anybody would wish to be.
You know, just the last point, I heard you describe yourself, I think, with Sandra and John as an aquanaut. That's not a term that I'd heard before, but it's very cool. And clearly you're a brave person because you've done all this stuff. It's not for me, sir, but for people like yourself and many, many others, I'm going to hope and pray that even with this mishap, if that's what it turns out, that those explorations will continue. I want to give you the last word on that.
Well, thank you for that. We need all the prayers. It's a small community. There are more people have stood on the summit of Mount Everest in one day than the number of people who have seen the Titanic at that depth, or even not the Titanic, but any depth. So we're a small community. Some of us know each other, or we know of each other. But we pray that they are brought back safely, and adventure and exploration will continue. That's what this world and this country is made of. And we know the risks, so hopefully they're not going to pay the price.
Yes, sir. Mr. Tom Maddox, can't thank you enough, sir. Thank you ever so much. And good luck to you. Good luck to you in the future.
Thank you, Larry.
All right.